and welcome to Holy Land Uncovered. I'm Emily Francis. It's been a while, and now I'm proud to share my latest travel special, where I was invited by Madrid's Fundacion Hispano Judia to take in the sights and sounds of Jewish history meeting modernity. Take a look at the history of the Jewish people in the region. Spain, a country of nearly 50 million people, is going through a transformation that is coming full circle since the Jews were expelled 500 years ago.
Christianity is easier, so it's a religion that could expand. The important thing is that the values, the Christian values, which are Judeo-Christian values, could expand to other continents. Judaism couldn't have done that. So our whole logic also here is the world today is different. Instead of seeing Christian and Jews as enemies or opposites, on the contrary, we're all waiting for the Messiah to come.
Madrid community leader David Hatchwell is spearheading the Hispano Jewish Museum and is the president of the foundation. And the museum is underway in a neighborhood that didn't used to be so friendly to Jews.
Time is like a wave, you know, and it goes. Now the wave goes today on the reverse. And today, everyone wants to go back to their origin, and it's very interesting. And our whole concept is to say, listen, it's beautiful that that we have a country that has a lot of Christianity as a base, and let's seek together what we have in common
To repair what's divided. But how did the church respond in the beginning? Were they open?
The church is very open to having Judaism come back in strength in this country from the perspective that, first of all, after Vatican II, this was very important as a game changer in terms of the mentality of the church towards the Jewish people.
Scholars say the Jewish people have been in the Iberian Peninsula since the time of the Second Temple, while others believe it dates back to the time of King Solomon.
So in cities like Toledo, it could be around 20-25% of the population being Jewish. In cities like Girona in Catalonia, same thing. The overall size of the Jewish population of Spain in 1492 is estimated at 8% of the overall population. Those are huge numbers.
Jews experienced a golden age for centuries, leading the way in finance, exploration, medicine, science, academia, and philosophy. Yet still, Jews were marginalized.
The smarter rulers would understand that their communities, their Jewish communities that technically belonged to them, had to prosper so that they could tax them in an intelligent way, so that they could continue prospering, and the monarchs would do well. And they eventually would become poor, the Jewish communities, and they were marked as Jews and living in ghettos also in Christian times. So let's not think for any second that life was better than today.
The golden age of Spain came to an abrupt halt for the Jewish people. And as you can see here in Plaza Mayor, it's now a place for tourists, for sports enthusiasts, and locals alike. But if you turn the clocks back to 500 years ago, this was ground zero for the tribunal and the expulsion of the Jewish people from this land.
It is estimated that half converted and stayed, and the other half was forced to leave. This is the origin of the Sfaradim that have gone throughout the world.
Jews fled throughout the Ottoman Empire, North Africa, and to the New World. Plus, there's evidence that Columbus not only rescued secret Jews to the Caribbean, but that he himself was also a secret Jew.
The ones who sponsored Columbus were the Jews, indeed, but that was part of the problem. The question is, who provides the money and how is it provided? The Jews were lending money to the monarchs, and at a certain moment you have to return the money. The mother of King Ferdinand, the husband of Queen Isabella, was Jewish, and she was called Paloma.
In the New World, converso Jews continued in secret, passing down Jewish rituals, cuisine, etc., from generation to generation. What percentage, you think, are descendants of Jews?
Well, it's pure math. If you take 4% of the population and you do an experiment over 25 iterations, and that 4% marries with others, by the end of the 16th generation, 16th iteration, everyone has Jewish DNA. And the anti-Semites who wanted to get rid of the Jews in reality became Jewish. because the whole society over 500 years became genetically Jewish. I have a lot of friends today that claim, and rightly so, that their families converted. And there's a revival today of trying to connect to that.
And these days, thanks to genetic testing and a spiritual longing, scores of people throughout the Spanish-speaking world of 600 million are discovering the truth. A truth that many believe is fulfilling prophecies about the ingathering of the exiles during these times. Something predicted by Moses, the prophet Isaiah, the prophet Obadiah, and one of the most revered Jewish thinkers, the 12th century's Maimonides of Córdoba.
Today we have a community which is around in Spain, around 20,000 Jews.
In all of Spain?
In all of Spain.
Wow.
Now the beauty is that we have more Jews or more people that originate from Jewish culture and religion because of this law that was passed in 2015. And there's been 100,000 applicants and already 80,000 of them got their Spanish passport. I think it's beautiful that people are looking for their Jewish past in order to connect to Spain, because once you realize that you have Jewish origin, then something changes within you. You don't see the Jewish people necessarily as something foreign. We're not about proselytizing,
of course,
but it's an interesting phenomenon.
The famous synagogues of Toledo and Córdoba used to be the center of Jewish life during the golden age of Spain until all traces of Jewish history were wiped out 500 years ago. But today's synagogue of Madrid stands out as a testimonial of a new era. Nestled in the middle of the sprawling city of Madrid sits a treasure that opens the door between the past and the present. The Bet Yaakov Synagogue opened its doors in 1978, the first new synagogue in Madrid since the 1492 Inquisition. However, the Jewish community was formally established in 1917. Today's synagogue houses a community of approximately 300 people from many origins, led by Rabbi Moshe Ben Dahan.
La comunidad judía de Madrid, la mayoría de sus miembros.
The majority of the members of the Jewish community of Madrid are of Sephardic origin, but we also have Ashkenazi members. After World War II, European Jews came from the Holocaust. And in 1956, when Morocco gained independence from Spain, many Jewish families flooded into Spain and Israel.
And you can see the history in the Torahs themselves.
This is an antique Torah from Romania. This one is the oldest.
How old is this?
It's from Morocco and more than 100 years old.
The decor is also meaningful, from beautiful stained glass to a quote from one of King David's Psalms that pays homage to the famous 14th century Toledo synagogue, El Tránsito.
Since this is the first new synagogue constructed since the time of the Jewish expulsion in 1492, we wanted to emulate the most famous synagogue in Jewish Spanish history, the Tránsito Synagogue of Toledo.
Rabbi Moshe Ben Dahan says in general, anti-Semitism in Spain abated after the death of longtime dictator Francisco Franco.
Francisco Franco was the dictator from 1939 to 1973, and he instilled Catholicism as the national religion and ideology. But in 1977, the Spanish amnesty law allowed for freedom of religion. And for this reason, we felt safe building and opening the synagogue in 1978.
However, in the wake of the October 7th massacre and rising anti-Semitism throughout Europe and the world, Jews of Madrid are keeping a low profile, but are not living in fear.
Listen, October the 7th was a huge pain for the entire Jewish community. But fortunately, we don't feel the anti-Semitism when we walk the streets. In general, the anti-Semitism is reflective of the politics, the press, and social media.
In fact, Rabbi Ben Dahan says the community continues to grow with more people moving from Latin American countries. Also coming full circle is the scores of Spaniards who are showing an interest in exploring their own Jewish ancestry in this new age.
Aquí en España,
Many people in Spain are showing an interest in Judaism, including Jewish texts and literature. Not all the Jews left in 1492. Many converted but continued certain rituals in private over the centuries. Many people today know and feel they come from converso Jewish ancestry, and we are seeing more and more who want to convert and return to Judaism.
Construction of the first Spanish Jewish museum is currently underway with a 25,000 square foot space that will be incorporating cutting edge technology, multiple galleries and installations with the spirit of coexistence and harmony. Take a look.
Bienvenida.
David!
How are you?
Finally, we meet in person.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure.
So this is the future of bringing back to life.
Hopefully, of establishing a new way of working between Christians and Jews in the Hispanic Jewish world. This is called the Museo Hispano-Judío. And it's in Spanish because Spanish language is really the element that gives a flow to this relationship for thousands of years.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a tour.
Let's do it. The building is owned by the Metro Company of Madrid. This used to be a building dedicated to monitoring all the substations, the electric substations of the subway company of Madrid. So besides the building, you have a system of tunnels that connect this building to all the metro infrastructure of the city. Wow. So this is a hall that we're going to dedicate as part of the permanent exhibition. It's going to be divided into two floors to show the history of Judaism and specifically also Hispanic Jewish ties and culture and why is it a special relationship. And we're going to show it from a perspective of showing the things that unite us. You know, there's obviously light and darkness in every story. We will talk about everything, but we will show that we have an opportunity in this moment in time to build something together. The ceiling is going to be increased, so you see already the structure there, plus another floor. So that's going to be a grand entrance. All of these, by the way, the columns go out. And if you come this way, this is the entrance, and I'm going to show you how you're going to really enter. So you're entering from the very first moment, and you're doing a journey that is sort of biblical, nice and warm. This structure is the home of the priest of the church that you see over there, the white one, which is the largest church of the area. The closeness between the Jewish and the Christian worlds is obvious. And what we're trying to do here is to look at things in a positive way, because Christianity has nothing to do with what it was 1,000 years ago. So all of this will be empty, no columns, and it's going to be a 400-seat auditorium with a connection to this that you will see right now that leads us into the other area. So you can see that it's open already.
Wow, this is really freaky.
By the way, this is where it's connected to the tunnels, literally.
Oh my God,
so it's pretty scary looking. But think about the following. This can be a room where you walk in and you have all of this, with different films that are happening. And it shows you, for example, the history of the Jews in Monterrey in Mexico, which is an incredible place. It was a city that was created by Jews. We're entering the area where we are going to have still part of our permanent collection, but mainly now we're entering into the temporary collections. So you can have, for example, we can bring 100 pieces of Chagall's paintings.
Wow.
And we can bring it here, and we have the whole collection that can run independently. We have 4 galleries. First gallery is dedicated to Judaism from Abraham Avinu to the Shoah. Second part is about Hispanic Jewish world with all its history. How Jews arrived here, how Jews lived here, when Jews left this place, how conversos had to live for 5 centuries, and what happened to this Sephardic diaspora. The third gallery that we have is a gallery about Jewish values. So we're going to show in this gallery what things in common we have between the main monotheistic faiths. There's a fourth gallery that is very important to us, which tells you about Judaism today, modern Judaism. And there, what we show is the centrality of Israel. We get 85 million tourists in Spain every year. The statistics will probably hit 90 million. So that's, those are very big numbers. Everything is expanding also. The airport of Madrid is expanding. The city of Madrid has had also tourism growing on a 20-25% basis for the last 4 years. And we also believe that this is the moment where you need to talk about a few specific messages, where you celebrate diversity, but from your identity. It's not just, a soup where nobody is anything anymore. On the contrary, we are very strong about our identity, but we're very open in terms of sharing and including and so forth. But from the perspective of respecting everyone's identity. That's the whole ethos of this foundation.
With anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment sweeping across Europe, Spain is no exception. An organization called ACOM, Action and Communication on the Middle East, is trying to foster dialogue and a path forward. Here's more.
ACOM was founded over 20 years ago by Spanish citizens, non-denominational, and the objective is the improvement of the relationships between Spain and Israel. But there's a lot of opportunities for the cooperation between the two states. And the reason is that we share common values as Western democracies. A lot of people ask us about anti-Semitism in Spain. The reality is that you can walk in the streets without fear for being identified visibly as a Jew. Anti-Semitism is the oldest form of hatred. It survives generations, it keeps morphing and changing, but the underneath is always the same, hatred. It's no longer expressed in the old way, it's no longer religious focused, it's political. And a lot of the hatred we see today is directed against the collective Jew. The collective Jew is Israel. They have used their power to promote BDS, the discrimination of anybody that was associated with the State of Israel. And in order to defend ourselves, what we had to do is to go to the courts of justice and ask for their protection. And so far, we have won approximately 100 cases, and we have lost none, and it got to the Supreme Court, and we won that case as well. The fact that Spanish Jewish life was absent for the most part of 500 years was a tragedy, but it offers today an opportunity of rediscovery. What I find is that most Spaniards and most Latin Americans to that extent don't have any particularly negative prejudice against the Jews. It's almost like a positive curiosity.
And now to a story of a Jewish woman of valor who defied all the odds at a time in history when there was not even a glass ceiling to break. The journey of Dona Gracia Nasi is one that is still leaving a lasting legacy. It was a night of music and celebration of the 16th century Wonder Woman, who literally changed the course of Jewish history. The Dona Gracia Nasi Award Gala drew a large crowd in Madrid.
Para nosotros, en el que marcamos este premio Dona Gracia Nasi, que recibió en junio de hace un año y pico ya Stuart Weitzman.
Dona Gracia Nasi was born in 1510, and by her 20s, she was running the biggest banking and spice trading empire in Europe. She was the first generation of Jews forcibly converted and living outwardly as Christians. Yet, over the course of her short life, she managed to rescue hundreds of secret Jews to the Ottoman Empire during the time of Suleiman the Magnificent. Similarly, she is considered the first Zionist because she leased the city of Tiberias with the goal of establishing a Jewish homeland for those fleeing Europe. Dona Gracia's family was originally from Spain before being expelled more than 500 years ago. Yet history has come full circle, and based on the crowd at this annual event, the story of this power woman is one that leaves an indelible legacy.
Spanish explorer Hernan Cortez is known for conquering the Aztec Empire in Mexico between 1519 and 1521. But at the same time, a love story burgeoned between Cortez and a native woman named Malinche, leaving a lasting legacy continuing to this day. And now a musical spectacular called Malinche is bringing audiences to their feet.
Pues mira, Malinche es una producción que lleva 2 años en
Look, Malinche is a production that has been on the road for 2 years with over 600 performances.
Hernan Cortez
and Malinche had a love story, probably not as sweet as the one we portray in this spectacular. After all, this is fictionalized, but it is clear and well documented that Hernan Cortez and Malinche had a child named Martin Cortez, considered the first mestizo in the New World, a mix between Aztec natives and Spanish Europeans.
So, ¿por qué el nombre es Malinche? It's a power about the woman, la mujer.
Porque pretendemos darle a la mujer su sitio.
Because we intended to give the woman her place, and it is better that the name of the protagonist be the name of our spectacle. It could have been called Hernan Cortez. However, creator and composer Nacho Cano decided to put the title as Malinche, precisely to give credit to this person that created so many bridges and that helped tremendously to unite civilizations.
Ayudó tanto a la unión de civilización.
Nacho has a very special sensitivity with music, and the musical influence is fundamental here. He believed it is the best way to transfer these emotions to the audience. You will see the show today in a few minutes, and we will see how it embraces your heart, and you get goosebumps. Madrid is the third largest world capital in musicals after Broadway and the West End in London. We're the largest world power in Spanish musicals. Last year, there were 14 musicals in Madrid, and the truth is that it is growing a lot.
Thank you again for watching our special Holy Land Uncovered in Madrid, and thanks again to the Fundacion Hispano Judia. We'll leave you now with more from the musical Malinche. Thanks for watching.